Fine. In this session, we are going to discuss about validation triggers. We are discussing about validation triggers. Validation triggers are two. We have two triggers. One when validate item, another one is when validate record. Another one is when validate record. First we'll see the when validate item. We'll see when validate item. When this trigger will be fired, whenever we validate the data in the text item. Whenever we validate means changes. If we make some changes in the text item, this trigger will be fired. Whenever we make some changes in the text item, this trigger will fire. Let's say commission is there, I am going to change the value. Immediately trigger will be fired. Salary is there, I am going to change the value. Trigger will be fired like this. Now we will take simple example. First what we will do is we'll test when the trigger is going to be fired. So I am creating an alert to test when validate item. When validate item trigger. Yes. I would like to show this alert whenever user makes some changes in the salary field. Whenever user makes some changes for salary field. Go to salary field, triggers, when validate item. When validate item, we are going to call this alert. Declare a variable. What is the function we use to show the alert? Show underscore alert when validate item and close. Now we have defined when validate item trigger in salary field in employee blog. Now whenever we run the form, if we make some changes in salary field or salary text item, automatically this trigger will be fired. Automatically the trigger is fired. I am removing the value 6000, I am entering 7000. Immediately trigger is fired. See this. It's not the new value. If you remove the old one and enter the same value again, also the trigger will be fired. Also the trigger is fired. Let's say my requirement is if we make any changes in this text item, I would like to show the message. Right now we have written the code only for salary text item. Our requirement is any of these text items, if we make changes, I want to show this message. Then what we'll do, this trigger will define at block level. So whenever we define the trigger at block level, it will be fired for every text item. It will be fired for every text item. Now run this form. Query. Now let's say clerk is there, dot, I am saying K. Yes, trigger has fired because we made some changes. Here I am going to change the date. Yes, trigger is fired. I am saying 2450, same value. And commission 150, trigger is fired. Department number 20, trigger is fired. Like this, whenever we make some changes, the trigger will be fired immediately. The trigger will be fired immediately. That's what we call it as a when validate item. Now we'll take a simple logic. We'll take simple logic. What is the logic? As soon as we make some changes in the salary or we enter the salary, 10% of salary should be assigned to the commission field. 10% of salary should be assigned to the commission. So this trigger is suitable for this requirement when validate item at item level, because in salary field whenever we make some changes here, automatically this trigger will be fired. I'm going to say commission equal to salary divided by 10 salary multiplication of 10 by 100, compile it. Now run this form. Now 7000 is there. Here I'm going to enter 8000. Immediately 10% is calculated. Go to the next record. I'm going to enter here 3000. So immediately the trigger is modified. If we don't make any changes, it won't be fired. The trigger is not fired now because we have not made any changes here. Okay. When user makes some changes, the trigger will be fired automatically. We can verify this. This is about when validate item. This is about when validate. Yes. We'll take one more example. When user enter department number, we want to verify is it valid department number or not. How to find whether the number is valid department number or not? Let's say I'm going to enter some value here called 56. I want to know is it valid department number or not. If 56 is exist in the department table, it's valid. Otherwise, it's invalid. Otherwise, it is invalid. Here we will verify. Okay. Now our requirement is when user enter department number. Go to department number, triggers, when validate item. Here we'll write a simple logic, declare, begin, select department number into X variable from employee table, from department table where department number equal to colon block name dot field name, exception when no data found or any exception is raised, no problem. When others, then show the message saying that please enter valid department number and raise the exception called raise form trigger failure exception and close. We are going to find the department number is valid or not. If department number is exist in the DEPT table, then this query will not throw any exception. If department number is not exist or multiple records are there or any other exception is raised, then we are going to show the message and raise the form trigger failure exception. Compile this, close. Now when we run the form, when user try to create a record, let's say I'm creating new record. I've entered salary is 10,000, see 10% as calculated, department number 76. It is not allowing me to enter 76 because it is invalid department number. I can't move to the next step because already we have raised the trigger. We have raised the exception here, raise form trigger failure. It means we cannot go to the next step. We can't go to the next step. We must enter valid department number, then it will allow. Okay, fine. Now transaction complete, one record applied and saved. Like this, when user makes some changes in the text item, this trigger will be fired, and in that scenario, if we want to do some activities or any logic we want to apply, we go for when validate item. We go for when validate item. Okay, fine. Let's take another example. Manager is nothing but one of the employee. Manager is nothing but one of the employee. So when user enter manager number, it must be employee number. It must be employee number. If user try to enter some invalid employee number, we want to stop the user. Okay, go to triggers. When validate item, first we have to verify select employee number into X from employee table where department number, sorry, employee number equal to colon emp dot manage. If it is exist, no problem, otherwise we are going to show the message, please enter valid employee number, raise the form trigger failure, raise the form trigger failure and close. What we are trying to do, we are going to take the manager number, means employee number, and going to find employee table exist or not. If it is exist, no problem, we'll go to the next text item. If not exist, exception is raised. We are going to show the message and raise the exception, raise form trigger failure. Now if I enter 12, it's not allowed, but if I enter 7839, it's allowed. See, like this we can verify the data by using when validate item trigger. I hope you got the idea about when validate item trigger, how it will be working. Next session we'll go for another trigger, when validate record.